Welcome to InDesign Lesson Program. This is due Saturday. Make sure it's a zipped packaged folder. You have to watch the second video to make sure that you have it a packaged folder. All right, let's get started. The next project is a program. First thing I will show you is how to set up the file, how to make a grid, how to flow text in, how to use a tab, and then what I'm calling style sheet. We're going to cover the character styles and paragraph styles. Companies look for designers that have a strong understanding on how to use the style sheets, which are the character styles and the paragraph styles. This brochure is for visiting artists. 1 is a graphic designer and 2 are artists. Please look over that you have all the images and that they're all placed in one folder. Make sure you download the copy for this assignment. So this is the front of it. You'll use all 3 images and you'll use the Visiting Artist Program Fall 2018. This is the designer's interpretation of this last semester. How do you solve this problem? So think about how you can use color and get someone excited about going to this program. What do you think is exciting? So these are the 2 asks. Here's my InDesign file, and that is the inside and the cover. And if I go to W, you can see margin and guidelines. This brochure will be a tri-fold, which means it folds in 3 ways.
We'll have one side that's a little bit smaller, so it's smaller here and smaller here. But I'm just going to make it easy and make them equal.
Open up InDesign and create a new document.
So we're going to go to print first.
Let's set up these presets. So we're going to do inches. We're going to change the name to program/your name. Width is 11 and height is 8.5 inches. Make sure the orientation is landscape. Change it to 2 pages. Facing's going to be off. And we're going to leave columns alone, and column gutters we're going to leave alone. And we're going to change our margins to 0.25. Yeah, remember that we have that link. Make sure the link's on so that it defaults all the way around the same. And same with bleed. Make sure the default is on and not off like it is. And you're going to make it 2.5 all the way around. Hit create.
The first thing is I'm going to want to go to the master page because I'm going to set up my guidelines.
Guidelines are one of the most important things we need to help plan the design.
And create it within layout. So we're going to do create guides.
So we're going to change the row numbers to 3 and the column numbers to 9. And let's look at options, fit guides to, let's do margins. And it's always good practice to do remove existing rule guides and then hit OK. To see the ruler around the edge of the document, you must do Command or Control R. Rulers allow us to retrieve guides, which we need so that we can create our gutters, which is where this document folds. And we don't want to have any art or copy within that guide. Let's move our guides just slightly out to give us a little more space around our gutter. Really don't want to get anything in the gutter because it's the fold. We made sure to set up the guides on the master so that the pages would have the guides. Make sure that there's an A on those pages for that master.
All right, the nice thing about masters is once you make something on a master,
it's all locked and none of the grid that we just created can move. There's 2 ways to make type boxes. One with the type tool, or you can also use the rectangle tool to lay out your type boxes.
First, make sure that you've copied all of the type. So I'm copying it, and then I'm making sure I'm on type tool. And don't be on the path. Make sure you're just on type tool. And I'm going to fill in the area right here. And then I'm going to do Command V to paste in. If you look right here, there's like a little red square with a plus. If I select it, you've seen this before, we talked about it. It means that there's type that would not fit into the square. So the nice thing about that is if I want to flow type to another square, I can just select it, and it'll open up another type.
It's so nice to have the guide set so you know where you can put your type box.
So I'm going to show you one more way of doing it. You put in the boxes, color behind it.
So you have to retrieve the type tool and you'll have to click on it and then you can copy it in. It needs to be changed to a type box. Now you have to be careful. You got to get to that edge and line it up to that shape so that it connects, and then again, just grab the next one.
This keeps it in line.
You're going to select the boxes and take the color out.
And then I would select it all right now, and I would just automatically
Change it to Helvetica. Let's choose 12 points and remember to keep it at regular weight.
Optical is what visually looks correct.
Metrics is how the type designer designed the spaces in between the letters. The goal now is to get all the copy into these 3 columns. Next, go back to your copy, look over it, see where there is indents and returns. That stuff doesn't translate when you copy and paste, so you have to go back and get rid of those extra spaces. Select all of the type, and now double check that it's Helvetica, regular, and let's reduce the size even more to 9 points. Now that the type is organized, let's start adding our images. Let's use the framing boxes for this. Now let's start selecting the boxes and placing the images in. Make sure you use the control bar and check the percentages of the scale.
This is telling me what's being scaled. So it's 95% smaller than the original size. They must be equal or you're distorting the image. All right, so all the images are in. The first thing is I stylize one of these sections and then
So I can use it for the paragraph style panel.
So let me show you just on title.
All right, so let's select the title. Let's make sure it's Helvetica, and then we're going to change it to bold. To make it more prominent, let's change the size to 12. Let's create an indent with a tab. It's under the type menu bar. So a tab has these arrows and a ruler. If you move the arrow out, it will create a tab. You must have the title selected.
It's nice that it's lining up again on my grid, right? First, let's start with a basic paragraph. And I'm just going to add a new one, and we're going to call this, we're going to call it header, copy header. So there's a lot of things you can do here. We're just going to do some basic stuff. So basic characteristics is that we want to make sure this is, I'm going to do Helvetica bold, and I think we chose
12-point size with leading 14.4. To create uppercase, we're going to change the case to all caps.
Did set a tab, so let's set it here also. So we're saying
the tab's going to be a 1-inch indent. We're going to change the color title to magenta. All right, let's go back to our page. We're going to highlight the title and we're going to link it to the paragraph style.
If you're getting that plus there, just apply, select the area and apply. All right, the next thing is your basic body copy. So we can add new body copy. It's called body copy. We're doing Helvetica regular.
The size will be 9, leading will be 11, and kerning will be optical.
Normal case. We're not going to do tabbing.
And check to make sure that the color is black. Select your body copy and connect it to the body copy in paragraph styles. Character works off of the paragraph style. It allows you to be more flexible and have some alternative styles. Like maybe you want to change the color, maybe you want to change it to bold, italic. It allows for those quick changes.
So it's still going to be the header, the copy header, but we're making it bold. So this helps you kind of change the format. So we're going to keep it at Helvetica, we're going to keep it, but we're changing it to bold, and we're keeping everything else. So we don't need to add anything else because it's first going to read our paragraph style, and then it'll take any changes that are necessary. Because I might want only half of this to be bold. Maybe I just want this to be bold, but I want the names to stay regular. I have options. So you set up all your standard stuff under paragraph, and then you can change accordingly to what you need stylistically throughout. So the next thing here is that we're going to have copy here that would possibly have bold. So I would select another, and let's say you want to make sure you have Philadelphia Museum of Art bolded. You would make another style, and I would select it and call it body bold and open it up, and then I'd be able to change it to bold to see how it stayed bold. And now if I want to just go in, I can bold anything, the actual paragraph. This will also be when you do italic.
Let's do one more. Let's call it date red, and let's give it a red color. So we do this to make the dates pop out. It's important to make sure people know when this event is happening. Take a minute and check over all your styles are set up for the paragraph style and the character style.
The best thing to do is select everything that's going to possibly be affected. You can see that this one already is affected because it's connected to our copy header. We're going to put one more in, and when we do that, that copy header is going to probably move. So because it's reading this as the first tab, and then this is the second, and because we didn't have this one highlighted, it's not going to read it as the second. So I just need to hit the tab button on my keyboard one more time. So if I want to tab the copy over for an indent, I would do that. You don't need a space in between if you're doing indent. But indents shouldn't be whatever standard tab button you select when you hit tab. It's a little too large and distracting. You need to set up your tabs. Another thing we're going to do is we're just going to go to paragraph. So that's under type is paragraph, and then in paragraph you have all these choices.
The most important choices I want to show are these lines at the very top. And if you go from right to left, I have them listed. Aligned, left, center, right, justified, left, center, right. Now that's different ways that you can align your text. And right now we are using the align left.
You want to make sure your type is kind of weaving back and forth when you're doing justified to the left. The other way that you can do type that you don't have to worry about that is you can use this one, which is full justify. It takes the type all the way to the edge. The problem with this is it leaves a lot of holes. So there's a big gap in the spaces that kind of become distracting, where this is, the type is all smooth and together in the correct spacing. So that's the difference between using justified or aligned left. I prefer aligned left.
To turn off hyphens,
you go under type, you go to paragraphs, and if you don't see everything here, you would select open options. And we just want to check that off.
it's bad to have one word starting a paragraph or ending a paragraph. These are called orphans and widows.
We go into what my final was. I took this little circle and to put some color, I used the image. But right now I think I'm just going to grab a little color from the art pieces. Let's get back to the line. It's nice to kind of work within the grid.
Let's talk a little bit more about the front cover.
Your copy header. And then let's go, since we already have it set up, and let's add bold. Does this get smaller? Does it get larger? How do you fill the space? Remember that where you see three lines together is where the fold is, so be careful with that. Colors on each panel. So it's really up to you, kind of what you want to do with it.
Use the grid to help plan your design.
So I want to get a better part of the image. So I want to kind of hover on it. You have to see that circle that we're seeing right now. It will show me the whole painting, and I can select the part that I want to show.
Well, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm so excited to see your front cover designs and then your step-by-step creation of the inner page of the actual event.